Imagine a world where your social life was a chaotic explosion of glittery gifs, a digital canvas for your teenage angst. Your day was consumed by one agonizing decision. Who truly deserved a spot in your coveted top 8? This wasn't a dream. In 2006, MySpace was the undisputed king, bigger and more visited than Google. So how did the titan of the internet, the digital home for a generation, become a complete ghost town? This isn't just a story about a website that got old. It's a cautionary tale for the entire tech world. This is the story of the strategic blunders that let a new empire, Facebook, rise from its ashes. Segment 2, the Golden Age. Before the fall, we must understand the breathtaking climb. MySpace wasn't just a network, it was a digital canvas. Your profile wasn't a template, it was your space. You could code it, break it, and make it uniquely you. This absolute freedom of expression was its undeniable superpower, tapping into the raw creativity of the internet. And nowhere was this power more clear than in music. It completely revolutionized the entire industry. Aspiring artists didn't need a record label anymore. They just needed a MySpace page to find their audience. It's how the world discovered bands like Arctic Monkeys, bringing them from obscurity to global stardom. It became the cultural center of the young internet, a home for every subculture imaginable. Everyone had a MySpace. Your friends, your favorite bands, and your very first digital friend, Tom. The friendly face who welcomed millions to their new online home. For a shining moment, MySpace had it all. The users, the culture, and unstoppable momentum. They were on top of the digital world, an untouchable empire of social connection. But a catastrophic deal was being brokered in the shadows, a deal that would plant the seeds of its destruction. In 2005, Rupert Murdoch's media giant, Corp, came knocking with a massive offer. They bought MySpace for $580 million. On paper, a genius move. In reality, the beginning of the end. The freewheeling creative soul of MySpace was about to clash with the cold, hard reality of corporate America. Segment 3, blunder number 1, the corporate takeover. The new bosses didn't see a thriving community. They saw a massive, untapped cash machine. The focus shifted overnight. Innovation was out, and aggressive monetization was in. Every decision now had to climb a mountain of corporate bureaucracy, slowing development to a crawl. The site, already straining under its massive user base, started to feel technically neglected and unstable. The biggest sign of this new direction was a monumental ad deal made with Google. They secured $900 million in exchange for plastering the site with advertisements. Suddenly, the user experience was buried under an avalanche of intrusive, irrelevant ads. The very thing that made it great, the user space, was no longer their own. While MySpace was busy counting its ad money, a quiet competitor was playing a completely different game. MySpace's greatest strength, its infinite customization, had begun to mutate into its greatest weakness. Profiles became bloated, hard-to-read messes that took forever to load on the dial-up speeds of the era. The site was filled with digital chaos. In contrast, Facebook offered a calm, blue ocean of order. Facebook was uniform, organized, and most importantly, it was lightning fast. This wasn't just about looks. It was about the technology rotting from within MySpace's core. It was built on outdated code, a tangled mess that engineers call spaghetti code. Segment 4, blunders number 2 and number 3, the technical and philosophical divide. Adding a new feature to MySpace was like playing a game of Jenga with a skyscraper. One wrong move, and it all fell apart. Facebook, built on modern tech, could innovate and release new features while MySpace was stuck fixing old bugs. But the most profound difference wasn't the code or the clutter. It was their entire philosophy on identity. MySpace was about being whoever you wanted to be. It was a public square for anonymous connections and meeting strangers. Facebook had a radically different strategy. It was built on a foundation of absolute authenticity. It started as an exclusive club for college students, requiring a real university email address to join. It wasn't about meeting new people. It was about connecting with the people you already knew in real life. This created a trusted, safer environment. It was your actual social circle, just moved online. As Facebook opened its doors to the world, it brought this trusted network with it. The exodus was swift and brutal. In 2008, the Great Migration began. It was like a party where suddenly everyone decides to leave for a better one down the street. The moment your real-world friends were all on Facebook, your reason for checking MySpace simply evaporated. Facebook's newsfeed was the killer app, a constant stream of updates from people you actually cared about. MySpace tried to copy it, but their version was clunky, confusing, and far too late. They were playing catch-up in a race they had already lost, desperately trying to rebrand. The cultural moment had passed. They had alienated users with ads and frustrated them with slow technology. The $580 million investment from News Corp became a legendary failure. They sold the crumbling site in 2011 for just $35 million, a staggering loss. So what really happened? It wasn't one single mistake, but a perfect storm of them. A corporate culture that valued short-term profit over any kind of long-term vision. A stubborn refusal to modernize its aging, broken technology before it was too late. And a failure to see what people really wanted. Not just a space, but a place for their real lives. Segment 5. The tipping point in the Great Migration. The tipping point came in April 2008, the moment the digital world changed forever. For the first time, Facebook officially surpassed MySpace in worldwide users. The exodus had become a stampede. The network effect was a brutal force. As soon as a few friends left, everyone had a reason to leave. Your MySpace inbox grew quiet. Your friends' profiles, once vibrant, now lay dormant and outdated. People no longer asked for your MySpace. They asked for your Facebook. The cultural language itself had shifted. Desperate, MySpace scrambled to hold on, trying to mimic the features that made its rivals so successful. They redesigned, they relaunched. But these were just cosmetic changes on a broken foundation. They tried to pivot back to their roots, rebranding as a social hub for musicians and bands. But it was no use. You can't be the center of the music world when the audience has already left the building. The company that once defined online culture had become a punchline, a relic of a bygone internet era. The final nail in the coffin was the departure of its founders, including the iconic Tom Anderson. The corporate machine that had bought the company for its soul had finally squeezed it dry. By 2011, News Corp sold what was left of the site, marking one of the worst investments in media history. The fall was complete. The king was dead, and its once thriving kingdom was now a digital graveyard. But its legacy and the lessons from its failure are more relevant today than ever before. Segment 6. The legacy and final warning. MySpace wasn't murdered by Facebook. It died from 1,000 self-inflicted wounds. a wound of greed, prioritizing ad revenue over the very users who gave the platform its value. A wound of arrogance, believing they were too big to fail and ignoring the clean, efficient threat rising against them. And a wound of technical neglect, building a mansion on a foundation of digital sand. MySpace walked so that Facebook could run. It taught the world what a social network could be, and it provided a perfect blueprint of what not to do when you get there. It pioneered the idea of a personal online profile, of connecting through music, and of digital self-expression. But its story serves as a chilling warning to the giants that rule the internet today. Platforms that clutter our feeds with ads, that ignore user frustrations, are walking the very same path. Culture shifts, technology evolves, and the next seismic change is always just around the corner. The loyalty of users is rented, not owned. It must be earned every single day. Because history has shown that no empire, no matter how vast, is immune to collapse. The line between being the center of the world and being a distant memory is terrifyingly thin. MySpace learned that lesson the hard way, paying the ultimate price for its mistakes. It remains the ultimate cautionary tale of the digital age. A story of ambition, failure, and lost connection. A ghost in the machine that reminds us that in the relentless world of technology, you either adapt or you become a memory.